Hi everyone, welcome to the third and final free webinar conducted by TCS in lieu of the upcoming SCS examinations happening in August 2023. My name is Nick and I'm the lead tutor and evaluator for SCS at TCS. So let's try to figure out what I'm trying to cover tonight. So I will be, first things first, I will be taking you through examiner's comments because it's of utmost importance that you understand what is requested or what is required out of you. And it's better to understand the mindset of the examiner. With these intentions, I will be taking you through the examiner's comments. Then in the second part of tonight's webinar, I will be talking about what you need to do to develop a higher level of confidence because as per the CIMA examiner, confident students end up passing the exam comfortably. So I will be providing certain tips which will enable you to develop a better or higher level of confidence. And in the last part of tonight's webinar, I will be talking about what you need to do to overcome, certain inefficiencies in your exam preparations, especially if you failed in the previous session or a previous session. I will try to help you figure out what your shortcomings are. And for each of these shortcomings, I will be providing solutions. Okay, so let's take you through the examiner's comment. So when developing answers, definitely you need to have an answer planning technique in mind, because if not, you won't gain good marks. So if you are to get good marks, you need to come up with answers which are extremely relevant to the requirement. So when talking about a requirement, now, as per, you might have gone through mock exams as at now. If not, it's high time you have to you start attempting mock exams. So when attempting mock exams, what you're supposed to do is, the CIMA examiner creates a business scenario, and based on that business scenario, you will be asked questions. So you have to have the ability to understand the requirements clearly. If not, you end up providing wrong answers. So it's of utmost importance that you understand the requirement. And if you understand the requirement properly, you will come up with answers which are highly relevant to the requirement. And if that is the case, you will gain extremely good marks at your exam. And on top of that, when providing answers, you need to show to the examiner that you possess an appropriate level of technical knowledge, especially pertaining to the E3 and P3 syllabuses, because there's a high level of prominence given to the E3 and P3 syllabuses. So you have to be conversant with these theoretical elements, and when providing answers or when developing answers, you have to ensure that you bring in this theoretical information, theoretical knowledge, and replicate it within your answer. And on top of that, just bringing in theoretical knowledge won't help you. You need to apply this knowledge to a given scenario. So when applying this knowledge, you need to consider about the internal as well as external dynamics of Dasitruk. And on top of that, you have to understand what is highlighted within the scenario. You have to utilize the information which are provided as part of the scenario, and you are supposed to provide well structured answers. So that's exactly why we have mentioned about, or we have taught you guys an answering technique. So if you're yet to figure out what these answering and time management techniques are, I invite you guys to go watch the recorded version of the second webinar, because the second webinar which we conducted about 2 weeks back, it was totally dedicated towards explaining and answering and time management technique. So as per the CIMA examiner, if you have to provide good answers, you have to provide well-structured answers. So if you have to come up with well-structured answers, you have to stick to the answer planning techniques which we have highlighted under webinar number 2. So if you're yet to check it out, I invite you guys to visit our website, and under the free content, under the videos tab, you will find the recorded version of the second webinar. So it's of utmost importance that you go through it. And when providing answers, you are supposed to provide answers in paragraphs. All these things were highlighted in the second webinar itself. So You are not supposed to provide answers in bullet points. You are not supposed to come up with single sentenced answers. Instead, per answer point, you need to come up with paragraphs. So when developing your answer or when developing your answer plans, let's assume for a certain subtask that there are 7 relevant points which we have highlighted within your answer plan. Then for each answer point, you need to come up with a paragraph. So in your fully fledged answer, you need to have 7 paragraphs within your answer. So all these things were explained in depth in the second webinar. So if you missed out on it, I invite you guys to go check it out. And whenever you are bringing in an argument, especially at the SCS level, you are playing the role of a senior finance manager. So when bringing in some type of argument, it's of utmost importance that you justify your argument. You can't simply say, okay, I recommend that the company Dasitruk should expand to this country. You can't keep it simple. For instance, if you're suggesting that Dasitruk should move to another country, then you have to highlight why you are saying it. You have to back it up with appropriate justifications, or else you won't get marks. So as per the CIMA examiner, you are supposed to adhere to these guidelines, and all these points were covered in the second webinar which we conducted. So please check it out. Then moving on, what are you supposed to do before the exam? So as per the examiner, you are supposed to study all areas of the syllabus. So I've seen so many tutors out there saying that certain elements of the syllabuses can be left out, which is not the truth, because any area from your E3, P3 and F3 syllabuses can be tested. So it's of utmost importance that you have an in-depth understanding about these theoretical elements. And on top of that, you have to know how to apply your knowledge to a scenario. Now, this is one of the areas in which most students struggle, even if you're coming through the CIMA general route. So if that is the case, you would have done your OTQ exams pertaining to E3, P3 and F3. Even if you had passed your OTQ exams, when it comes to the SCS exam, you might struggle a bit when it comes to applying your knowledge. Okay, so you have to ensure that your application skills are sound, and on top of that, you are supposed to practice tasks. So you are supposed to attempt mock exams under real exam conditions. If not, there's absolutely no point of just going through a question, taking your own time to develop answers, and some students, what they do is, rather than sitting in one place and allocating 3 hours of their time and attempting a mock which consists of 3 tasks in one go, rather than doing that, a certain set of students, what they do is they would attempt the first task on Monday, second task on Tuesday, and the third task on Wednesday, and likewise. So you won't do the same thing at your exam. So it's of utmost importance that you sit in one place, allocate 3 hours, and attempt mock exams or practice attempting mock exams. So whilst attempting these mock exams, you are supposed to keep on practicing your answer planning and time management techniques. So 30 minutes to develop an answer plan, 30 minutes to expand the answer plan. So if you attempt 5 mocks, in each mock, there are 3 tasks. So 5 into 3 is overall, you'll be attempting 15 tasks. So when attempting these 15 tasks, you will be practicing your time management techniques as well as answer planning techniques. So all these techniques, time management and answer planning techniques, will be practiced 15 times over before you go and attempt your exam. So once you attempt these techniques 15 times over, you will champion these techniques, and you will definitely end up, saving a lot of time, coming up with well-structured answers, and in the process, you will pass in your first sitting, pass the exam in your first sitting itself. And when attempting or practicing tasks or mock exams, you are supposed to type or write full answers. You are not supposed to attempt on a task-by-task basis on separate days or separate time periods. That's not going to help you, because at the exam, you have to sit in one place for 3 hours, handle the pressure. You have to get used to all these, the inefficiencies you'd face, how to handle your pressure. So all these things, you have to practice it under exam conditions. And we at TCS, we have developed an exam platform which is akin to the Pearson VUE system, which you'd see at your real exam. So when attempting mock exams, simply, yeah, you can attempt them via our exam platform itself. So if that is the case, you'd know whether your answer planning and time management techniques are working or not. And when you keep on practicing at your real exam, you'd actually save a lot of time. Believe me, students who committed themselves, who went through our study process, what they told us was after each task, they had something like 7 to 5 minutes extra at their disposal. So they utilize this time to go through the answer or double check the answer. And when it comes to the other students, they are usually rushing to complete the answer in the last 5 to 7 minutes. So rather than trying to going through all these inefficiencies, simply stick to our answering technique. Okay. Right. Then during the exam, what are you supposed to do? Plan your answers. So we are not saying this. This is taken from the exam blueprint. These are the comments made by the CIMA examiner. So the examiner expects you to plan your answers. So there's absolutely no point of you guys reading the question and straight away trying to develop answers, or straight away trying to type fully fledged answers. That's not going to help you. Instead, you have to spend some time to really understand the requirement and come up with an appropriate answer plan, which consists of the theoretical elements, and you have looked into application as well. Whilst doing all these things, it's better if you can bring in information from the pre-scene as well. So in order to do these things, you have to spend some time to think, because as I've told you earlier, the CIMA examiner is trying to recreate a real-life corporate environment. So in a real-life corporate environment, if you're the senior finance manager, let's assume you receive an email from your CFO. So when responding to the CFO, you will spend some time to really understand what is highlighted. You'd try to come up with the best suggestion or the best recommendation as the senior finance manager. So that's exactly what you are supposed to do at the exam. So don't try to type answers straight away. Instead, stick to the answer planning technique, thereby planning the answer. Okay. And always remember that the marker is under strict instructions to mark answers on their merits. So the examiner picks quality over, or the marker rather picks quality over quantity. Just because you provide lengthy answers, you're not going to get marks. Your marks are dependent on your answer plan. So get your answer planning right. You won't get it right when you are attempting just 1 or 2 mock exams, because you need to get used to this answer planning technique, which we have highlighted in the second webinar. You can't do it straight away. So when attempting each mock, you have to keep on practicing these techniques, so that you end up in a position where you can handle pressure, come up with high quality answers, and you'd save enough time so that you'd actually have time to recheck your answer before moving on to the next task. All right, so that's the first part of tonight's webinar, and certain messages had come in. How many points should I raise in total per question? So if a question is 33% of the total paper, how many points do I need to make for that 33%? So Godfrey, it depends on how many marks are allocated for each subtask. So 33% means usually a mark allocation of something like, let's assume, I can't do the maths right now, but let's assume 12 marks are allocated. So if your mark allocation is 12, then for each answer point, you will gain something like 2 to 3 marks. So if 12 marks are allocated, you have to come up with an answer plan which consists of 5 to 6 valid answer points. Okay, so these things I actually highlighted in the second webinar as well. So Godfrey, I hope I addressed your concern. Selena is saying, cannot hear anything. All right, okay. Okay, so before we move on to the second part of the webinar, any questions, guys? If you have any questions, you can simply switch on your mic and talk, or drop a message on the chat section. Okay, I'm going to pause the recording for a while. Forward. All right, so then talking about marking criteria, how marks are allocated. 2 markers will allocate marks before the final mark is finalized. This is practiced by CIMA with the intention of achieving a high level of transparency when it comes to grading your papers. And mark allocation for each subtask appears as a percentage under each requirement. You would have seen this if you if you participated with webinar number 2, or if you watch the recorded version of it, you'd understand what I'm talking about. So if you had done your exam previously, then you would have seen under each subtask, there's a percentage provided. That percentage gives you an indication about how many marks are allocated for each subtask, and based on it only, you have to develop your answer plan. So in order to gain an in-depth understanding about it, watch the recorded version of the webinar, the second one, answering technique. And as I told you earlier, marks are allocated based on merit. So the examiner picks quality over quantity. There's absolutely no point of thinking in terms of the length of your answer or the word count, because remember, this is totally different. CIMA is totally different to an educational qualification such as a degree program or a master's program. Instead, CIMA falls under the category of a professional qualification. So in a professional qualification, it's as if you are reporting to one of your superiors. Your CFO could be your marketing director. So, these are the skill set which is tested at your exam. So quality is picked over quantity. Do not think in terms of the word count of your answer. All right, so before we move on to the second part of tonight's webinar, let me briefly mention about what we offer at TCS. So this is I'm on my website, and this is the SCS page. So as you can see, we are offering 3 courses. So the first course is known as the Essentials Pack, and if you purchase this, you'd get your hands on the recorded versions of the webinars. And most importantly, you'd get your hands on 5 mock exams and suggested answers. And when developing these 5 mock exams, we have made sure to cover the entire syllabus pertaining to E3, P3, and F3 related areas. And all these mock exams are totally or 100% relevant to the pre-scene. So all these mock exams as well as their answers are totally aligned with the information provided within the pre-scene. So it's of utmost importance that you invest on these mocks if you are to cover the entire syllabus, as well as improve your application skills. And this also comes with the Essentials Pack, also comes with 4 pre-scene analysis videos. These videos can be accessed to gain an in-depth understanding about the type of information which are highlighted within your pre-scene. So the Essentials package is priced at £99. And if you're coming through the CIMA general route, and if you had aced your OTQ exams, if you have gotten really good marks for E3, P3, and F3 without failing any of these OTQ exams, then it appears that you have some type of discipline when it comes to preparations. That's why you wouldn't have failed your any of your OTQ exams. So if that is the case, the Essentials Pack is what is necessary. You need not invest on anything else. Then the second package or the course is known as the Value Pack. And under the Value Pack, you would get your hands on the same type of material which comes with the Essentials Pack. And on top of that, you'd get your hands on something called the annotated pre-scene. So this is the, I'm just taking you through a previous annotated pre-scene. So this is the same pre-scene which you'd receive, but it comes with annotations. So as you can see, all the most important information are taken out and provided or highlighted as annotations, with the intention of ensuring that you understand the most important information which are highlighted within the pre-scene easily. Okay, so all these annotations, we have kept it simple as much as possible. And as part of these annotations, we are also providing information pertaining to information about real life companies, the type of theoretical elements which are tested, and the type of questions which can be thrown at you, and if there are any issues which can be connected with the pre-scene. All these things are highlighted as part of these annotations. So if you go through these annotations, you need not read the entire pre-scene document. Rather than going through pages and pages of information, it's easy when it comes to just reading the annotations. So that's what you'd get your hands on under the value pack. And this also comes with the industry analysis slides. So these are the industry analysis slides. So under the industry analysis slides, we are covering 4 main areas. We are providing an overview into the industry. We are highlighting the competitive landscape, highlighting industry trends, as well as providing real life examples based on 2 real life companies. So if you go through the set of slides, just 10 to 15 slides are there. So if you go through these slides, you are in a position to understand about the industry dynamics. So you need not do your own research. So as Ashok mentioned earlier within this webinar, you are talking about the industry dynamics. So the best way to understand these industry dynamics in a nutshell is to go through the industry analysis slides. And the value pack also comes with a set of financial analysis cards or financial analysis slides. So within these financial analysis slides, what we have done is we have summarized the information which appears as part of your pre-scene document, because at the very end, as the 4th part of the pre-scene, you would have seen the financial statements of Dasitruk as well as its closest competitor Carry. So all these financial statements have been summarized, and we have kept things simple so that you are in a position to really understand about the financial situation of the company. And at the very end, a ratio analysis is also conducted, and all these ratios have been evaluated in depth, yet we have kept things simple. And the same process had been adhered to when it comes to the competitor, the closest competitor, and according to this time's pre-scene, it's Carry. And this also comes with top 10 likely issues. So we are highlighting the type of issues which can be tested at your real exam, and comes with the value pack comes with the case study familiarization kit. So it's if you're coming through an exemption route, it's of utmost importance that you understand the technicalities behind your exam. So then you simply need to go through the case study familiarization kit, and you will have access to a tutor managed live chat via Twilio, which can be accessed via the website itself. And you will also get your hands on the theory recaps pertaining to OTQ syllabus content. So, these, revision cards are developed with the intention of keeping things simple. So rather than you going through pages and pages of textbook material, you can simply go through the slides and refresh your memory or brush up your memory when it comes to OTQ syllabus content. So the value pack is priced at £199. So if you are a student coming through the CIMA general route, but if you had struggled with your OTQ exams, if you had failed any of your OTQ exams, it appears that you need some type of support, additional support, then if that is the case, go for the value pack. And the premium package is developed mainly focusing the students who are coming through the exemption route, such as the FLP, or you might be directly coming to the SCS after completing your professional qualifications. So if that is the case, you need to have an in-depth understanding about the theoretical elements, because since you are coming through the exemption route, certain theoretical elements might not have been covered within your MBAs or within your professional qualifications. And on top of that, you need to have an in-depth understanding about how to develop answers, because the examination structure is highly practical within the CIMA syllabus, if you consider the CIMA examination process. So this might be a bit different to what we have experienced so far, especially if you are coming through are coming after completing an educational qualification or an academic qualification rather. So things might be a bit different. So if that is the case, you have to go for the premium package. So the premium package is developed mainly for students coming through the exemption route, and as well as for students who had failed the exam previously. So if you failed previously, you have to think about investing on the premium package. So the premium package comes with all the material which comes out of the value pack. On top of that, you'll gain access to an online mock exam platform or the learning management system. So via this learning management system, when attempting mock exams, when attempting each of your 5 mock exams, you can attempt them under real exam conditions. You can get used to exam stress, you can get used to answer planning and time management techniques. And if you do, then at the real exam, your life will be extremely easy. And we are also providing one-to-one tutor feedback and marking on 3 of your mocks, mocks 3, 4, and 5. So this is the type of, let me show you a sample of the type of feedback you will receive. So on a paragraph by paragraph basis, I've highlighted the inefficiencies as well as the areas in which the student had done really well. So throughout the answer script, you can see the type of notations or the comments which we have provided. And at the very end, we provide the grades as well, so that you are in a position to understand your performance on a subtask by subtask basis. And we are also indicating about a success rate. So as per the technicalities pertaining to the SCS exam, you are supposed to gain 80 marks out of 150 or 54%. Okay, so if your answer had gained more than 54% of marks, we have indicated them or highlighted them in yellow. Okay, so as per these students, after going through these students' answer script, what you can understand is the student had done an extremely good job when it comes to developing answers for task 2. But when it comes to attempting tasks 1 and 3, the student needs to brush up on the quality of the answers. So after you receive this feedback, what you're supposed to do is simply redo your answer planning technique, redevelop answer plans for task 1 and 3. So after attempting a mock exam, if you didn't get good marks, you are not supposed to allocate 3 hours again and re-attempt the mock. There's absolutely no point of doing it. Instead, you have to focus on your answer planning technique, because based on your answer plan, the quality of your fully fledged answer will be determined. So rather than spending a lot of time, just you have not done a good job in tasks 1 and 3. So you need to again allocate 30 minutes, 2 slots of 30 minutes. So it's just 1 hour. You are supposed to take 1 hour and develop or redevelop 2 answer plans for task 1 and 3. So that's how we are supposed to revise, conduct your revisions. That's how we're supposed to improve the quality of your answer planning techniques. And looking at the success rate, you are in a position to understand which subtask you have to refocus on. Okay, and at the very end, the mark allocations, the total mark allocation is provided. And the student had failed the exam, this mock exam. However, I can remember that the student ended up passing the SCS exam in the first sitting itself. And at the very end, we are providing general comments as well. So that's the type of feedback you would receive under the premium package. And you will also gain access to answer plans of all mocks. So no other service provider is providing you with something called answer plans. So I'll show you what an answer plan looks like. So the answer plan highlights the structure of the entire answer. So rather than going through pages and pages of suggested answers for each and every mock, simply by going through this answer plan, you can understand the structure of the answer, the logic of the answers provided, and on top of that, how theory had been brought in, how application skills can be improved, how pre-seen information had been brought into the answer. All these things can be easily understood by referring to our answer plan. So as you can see, for task number 1, the answer plan goes on for 1, 2, just 3 pages. Okay, so after going through these, everything is in bullet points, so it's extremely concise. So after you go through these type of answer plans, closer to the exam, what are you supposed to do? Simply, when conducting your revision closer to the exam, you are supposed to go through these answer plans over and over again. And whilst doing it, you'll improve your answer structuring. You will improve your knowledge pertaining to theoretical elements, especially if you're coming through an exemption route. this is invaluable to you because you need not spend time to summarize the suggested answers. We have done it for you. And that's what you'd gain access under the premium package. And on top of that, you will also gain access to master classes. So when conducting master classes, what we are doing is based on these answer plans, we are explaining the logic behind each answer. We are explaining the requirement and the logic behind each answer based on these answer plans. And whilst doing it, what we are doing is we are teaching you theory as well as how to apply theory in a practical sense. So you need not spend time to, when it comes to revising your OTQ syllabus areas, especially if you are coming through an exemption route. There's absolutely no point of wasting your time to go through textbooks and whatnot. You're trying to refer to your old notes, trying to allocate a certain amount of time for theoretical studies pertaining to theoretical elements. These things take a lot of time, so you do not have time at your disposal. So in order to make your life easier, we have developed a set of master classes. So if you watch these master classes, you'll understand, you'll learn theory, and on top of that, you'll understand how to apply theory in a practical sense, thereby gaining the most amount of marks at your exam. And this comes with tutor-led webinars and workshops as well. So there are 2 upcoming webinars which are supposed to happen in the coming months. And this comes with the premium package comes with the monthly installment payment option. So the total price of the package is £550, but you can pay it in 3 installments. The first installment is £99. The second one is £225. And the third one is £225 again. And all these 3 payments can be staggered over 3 months. And the premium package comes with a pass guarantee. So if you invest on the premium package and if you end up failing the exam, then you can access the same material in the subsequent session free of charge. So that's the pass guarantee which we are providing. However, this pass guarantee comes with one single condition, and the condition is that you have to attempt 5 mock exams. So if you had invested on your premium package and attempted 5 mock exams, and still if you failed, then we will provide you access to the premium package once more free of charge, because that actually can't happen. So that's the pass guarantee which we are providing. And we have also highlighted a study plan within the website itself. So according to the study plan, you are supposed to attempt mock number 2 and watch the 3 master classes pertaining to mock number 2. So by now, if you are yet to start preparations, it's of utmost importance that you start attempting mocks right now, because as per the study plan, you are supposed to attempt mock number 2. So if you're yet to start, you have to get 2 mocks done within this week. So it's of utmost importance that you start preparations right now. And as you can see, according to our study plan, it's just a matter of you attempting a mock per week, just allocating 3 hours of your time and attempting a mock per week. Everything else is handled by us. And if you stick to our study plan, during week number 8, this is the week leading up to your exam, you are relaxing when all the other students are under extreme pressure, when all the other students are scrambling to get things done, scrambling to attempt mock exams, trying to summarize or develop answer plans based on suggested answers. When all the other students are doing these things, you are relaxing because you are supposed to attend the final Q&A with the tutor. Refer to answer plans of mock 1 to 5. Whilst doing it, you will be revising theory as well as further improving your answer structuring and application skills, and reread the annotated pre-scene. So a week before the exam, you are relaxing whilst all the others are under tremendous amounts of pressure, and you stand a chance of passing the exam comfortably, especially if you utilize our services and stick to the study plan. And all this material, in order to check out the quality of all the material which we mentioned, simply click on this button and check out the sample content. So you can check out what a masterclass looks like, how a pre-scene analysis is done, the type of material which we are providing. All these things can be access beforehand before you invest on our products, then you can access our free content as well by clicking on this button. So under the free content, you would gain access to the recorded versions of the webinars, a mini mock and its suggested answer, as well as its answer plan. And out of the 4 pre-scene analysis videos, the first one can be accessed under the free content. Okay, so that's about what we offer. So let me remind you about the pass rate which we achieved for February 2023. We are still in the process of compiling the pass rates pertaining to the session which was completed in May. We achieved a 96% pass rate, and we are happy to say that 2 of our students got top 5 national ranks. So this student got the All India 4th rank. If I'm not mistaken, this individual scored something like 108 marks at the exam. So your pass mark is just 80, but most of our students end up getting more than 100 marks. Why? Because they stick to the answer planning technique, because they learn theory and application via the master classes and the mock exams, and on top of that, they stick to our study plan. Okay, so then moving on to the second part of tonight's webinar, I'm gonna talk about what you need to do to develop a better level of confidence before the exam. So before the exam, you are supposed to stick to the study plan. So refer to the first webinar where we are explaining you guys about what you're supposed to do. And we have provided a study plan as part of our website as well. So it's easy to keep track of what you're supposed to do, and stick to a routine. At least you have something like 4 to 5 weeks at your disposal. So in the upcoming 4 to 5 weeks, at least focus on sticking to a schedule or routine. Wake up and sleep at a predetermined time. And if you are finding it difficult to wake up and sleep at a predetermined time, try to focus on your daily meal intake. Have your breakfast, lunch, and dinner at predetermined time periods. If that is the case, you would fall asleep and wake up at a predetermined time as well. And when practicing mock exams, what are you supposed to do? It's better to practice mocks under simulated exam conditions. So the best way to achieve this is to utilize our mock exam platform, where you can attempt all mocks under exam conditions. And when attempting mocks, you have to allocate, as I told you earlier, you have to allocate 3 hours of your time and attempt mocks in isolation, devoid of any disturbances, because there won't be any disturbances at your real exam. And when attempting each mock on a task by task basis, you have to stick to the exam technique routine. So that's 30 minutes allocated towards reading and answer planning, and 30 minutes allocated towards typing your answers. So these techniques were highlighted within the second webinar. And on the day of the exam, what are you supposed to do? So let's assume your exam is at 10 a.m. Before the exam, you wake up. What are you supposed to do? You have to rest your mind and body. So how can you rest your mind and body? By relaxing before the exam. Do not go through any study material, mocks, answer plans, or videos. Forget about everything, because on the day of the exam, you have to be open-minded as much as possible. Do not go through any study material. Do not go through any mocks. Instead, think that you are the senior finance manager at Dasitruk. So as the senior finance manager, it's as if you are walking into office on a morning. So if you were up last night, you can't function properly as a senior finance manager. So that's exactly why you need to sleep and eat properly. Okay, so as per our study plan, at the very end, I've mentioned that you are supposed to stop preparations the day prior to the exam, sleep, eat, and rest well. So if your exam is on the 24th, you have to stop all your preparations by the 23rd. Keep by the 22nd rather, keep the 23rd of August free, then walk into your exam on the 24th. So why am I asking you guys to do these things? In order to achieve an open mind, and in order to have a high level of confidence. And definitely you will feel some type of negativity, butterflies in your stomach, some type of stress. That's normal. Even I, as a student, I felt these things. However, if you have done your homework, whenever you feel negative, you can keep reminding yourself that you have done your homework. And if and on top of that, you have to always constantly keep on reminding yourself that you're simply supposed to achieve just 80 marks out of 150. You're not supposed to get full marks. You're not supposed to get 100 marks. Instead, you are simply supposed to get 54% of the marks which are allocated. So that's an extremely easy task if you have done your homework beforehand. And whenever you feel negative, keep reminding yourself about these two facts. You are supposed to get just 80 marks, and the fact that you have done your homework. And try to be open-minded, because as an SFM, you have to be open-minded. And during the exam, what are you supposed to do? Stick to the exam technique routine, because this is exactly what you have practiced when attempting the 5 mock exams. So 30 minutes should be allocated towards reading and answer planning, and 30 minutes should be allocated towards expanding the answer plan. And definitely you will feel stressed, because out of the three tasks, one of the tasks are going to be a bit difficult, because this is a professional qualification, as I've been telling you over and over again. So in a professional qualification, it's not going to be easy. There's definitely going to be a subtask or an entire task which makes no sense. So you might think that you are stuck, or you might think that you are faced with a question where you cannot come up with appropriate answers. That's normal. These type of hard areas are there within, as part of a subtask, or as part of one single task. So do not get fazed by it. Instead, keep moving forward. So a hard task or a subtask is included within your paper with the intention of throwing you off your answer planning technique. So if you screw up one single subtask, you end up wasting a lot of time. And in the back of your mind, you are telling yourself, okay, dude, you spent a lot of time, try to increase your speed. So when you try to increase your speed, you can't think straight. So you're under a lot of stress. This leads to a lot of stress. So stress should be avoided at all costs at your exam. So how are you supposed to manage this type of stress? So the first step is towards managing stress is to drink some water. This will help calm down your nerves a bit, and it will bring in some oxygen into your system, which is going to be extremely beneficial, because it's definitely going to calm down your nerves. And on top of that, still, if you're feeling stressed, close your eyes and breathe slowly for 2 minutes. I want you guys to do it at your real exam. So you might think that I'm asking you to waste 2 minutes of your time. Actually speaking, if you do this, it's as if you are gaining 2 minutes, because there's a separate part of our brain which is known as the amygdala, a small part of a portion of our brain. When we are stressed, the amygdala kicks in, and when the amygdala kicks in, we take emotional decisions. We panic, and out of panic, we take emotional decisions. And when the stress levels are extremely high, adrenaline starts pumping in as well. So when adrenaline pumps in, you are panicking further, and you end up taking or developing answers which are not too relevant to the requirement. Instead, you'd come up with answers which are not well thought out, because you are panicking. Your brain is panicking. So the best way to shut down your amygdala and to awaken your prefrontal cortex, because we are utilizing our prefrontal cortex when it comes to rational thinking. So as a senior finance manager, you have to be involved with rational thinking. So if you have to think rationally, your prefrontal cortex should be in control rather than the amygdala. So in order to shut down the amygdala and to open up your prefrontal cortex, you need to focus on your breathing. So do it for 2 minutes. Then you'd realize that your stress levels are under control. And once your stress levels are under control, you are not panicking. And when you are not panicking, you can think and come up with high quality answers. Okay. And whenever you are feeling stressed, remind yourself that you have done your homework. You can only do this if you had actually done your homework. So make sure to before your exam, make sure to attempt 5 mock exams under exam conditions, and always remind yourself that you just need 80 marks or 54% to pass. And at the exam, give your best shot. Always think like the SFM, try to give the best solution. And throughout the exam, be open-minded, because take it from me, most of my students who end up passing the SCS exam, they are not studious. They are not too good when it comes to remembering theory. The same could be said about myself as well. I was not a studious individual when I was doing CIMA, but I found CIMA to be extremely easy because I had the ability to think in a practical manner. So if you have to think in a practical manner, you have to be open-minded. So that's exactly what you should focus on at your exam. So in order to achieve all these things, it's of utmost importance that you attempt 5 mocks. And when attempting each of these mocks, you have to practice your answer planning and time management techniques. And you are supposed to avoid deflections as well. So do not go through the exam blueprint, because everything which appears within the blueprint, exam blueprint, are covered via the 3 webinars which we have conducted so far. And do not rely on predictions, because as I told you earlier, any area syllabus content or based on the information provided in the pre-scene, any area can be tested. So there's absolutely no point of thinking about predictions. You'd be wasting your time. And excessive industry analysis is a killer. I've seen so many students out there trying to conduct SWOT analysis, Pestel analysis, Porter's 5 forces analysis. These things are totally irrelevant. I've seen tutors doing it as well, because although this is the case, at your real exam, you will never get questions pertaining to these areas. So there's no point of being involved or engrossed with excessive industry analysis. Simply go through the industry analysis slides which we provide, and that's and as well as the pre-scene document. And that's all the knowledge which you need to have about industry dynamics. And misguided use of past papers is a killer as well. So one of the students raised this concern via the WhatsApp group today in the morning as well. What I've seen is students, rather than attempting mock exams which are totally relevant to the pre-scene, there's a tendency for them to rely on past variants or past papers. Remember that the past variants, especially when it comes to the SCS exam, the past variants are based on different pre-scenes. And in each pre-scene, the internal and external dynamics are totally different to each other. So if you practice mock exams and go through suggested answers based on a paper, which is based on a previous pre-scene document, you are not gaining anything. You cannot, you are not in a position to understand how, when developing your answers, how it can be related to the company, because the suggested answer is based on a different pre-scene. So if you utilize past papers, definitely you will be headed in the wrong direction. Instead, it's of utmost importance that you attempt pre-scene relevant mock exams. And information overload is a killer as well, especially leading up to the last 2 weeks of the exam, because that's when you try to do everything under the sun. Yeah, and as a student, you will always feel that you have not done your best. You'll always feel that after doing everything, at the very end, you might think of going through E3, syllabus content or P3 syllabus content. So there's absolutely no point of doing these things. Simply stick to our study plan. We have simplified everything. So if you stick to the study plan, it's just a matter of finding 3 hours on a weekly basis and attempting a mock per week. In addition to that, when it comes to redeveloping answer plans, watching the videos, you just need to allocate something like 4 hours per week. So all in all, you just need to find 7 hours per week. Everything else is handled by us. So you need not go through any other material. Simply focus on the material which we have provided. Stick to our study plan. And if you do, you might end up with a national rank, and you will definitely get extremely good marks at your exam. All right, moving on to the third part of tonight's session. This part is actually beneficial, extremely beneficial for students who had failed the SCS exam previously. So what are the common reasons which leads to a failure? Practicing just 2 or 3 mocks. Mind you, you cannot cover the entire syllabus by just practicing 2 or 3 mocks. If you have to cover the entire syllabus, if you have to cover the theoretical knowledge pertinent to all syllabus areas, you have to attempt 5 mock exams. And as I told you earlier, you are supposed to keep practicing the answer planning and time management techniques. So if you practice just 2 mocks, you would have practiced answer planning and time management techniques just 6 times over. That's not enough practice because as I told you earlier, we have developed 5 mock exams, and out of these 5, we are providing feedback for mocks 3, 4, and 5. Why are we not providing feedback for mocks 1 and 2? Because mocks 1 and 2 are there to get your bearings with regards to answer planning and time management technique. Take it from me, when after attempting the first mock, you'd feel as if you are clueless about the answer planning technique. And after attempting the first mock, you'd realize that definitely you are running out of time. But by the time you start attempting the third mock, you'd realize that you are managing things properly. You are coming up with better quality answers, which are structured way better than what the structures which appeared in mocks 1 and 2. Okay, so you need to keep on practicing these things. So when attempting your mock exam. So if you have to champion the answer planning and time management techniques, you have to attempt 5 mocks. If you have to learn theory covering the entire syllabus, you have to attempt 5 mocks. And not practicing under simulated exam conditions is a killer. So because at the exam, you have to sit in one place and attempt the entire exam in one go within 3 hours. That's no easy task. So you have to get used to it. So when attempting mocks, do it via the exam platform which we have developed. Then you will get accustomed to exam conditions. And lack of technical knowledge is a killer as well. Especially when it comes to students coming through the exemption route, you will not know your theory pertaining to E3, F3, and P3. So in such an environment, simply watch our master classes, the recorded versions of the master classes. So if you watch these 15 master classes, you are in a position to learn theory in each of these master classes, and you will also improve your application skills. And when it comes to applying knowledge, I've seen so many students having this shortcoming with regards to application, because most students, even if you're coming through the CIMA general route, you might be clueless about how to apply a certain framework to a selected question. So, something like applying the SAF framework, the suitability, acceptability, and feasibility framework. So the best way to understand application is by referring to our mock exams, attempting our mock exams, and referring to the answer plans. So the answer plans is a summary of the entire answer. So by looking at the summary, you are in a position to understand the structure appropriately. And once you understand the structure, it's just a matter of simply replicating the same structure within a tutorial exam. An inappropriate answering technique, as I told you earlier, most students who end up failing the exam and running out of time, what they encounter is right after reading the question, they start typing the answer. That's not going to help you, because as an SFM, you need to spend some time to plan your answer appropriately. So don't start to or try to type answer straight away, because halfway through your answer, you'd realize that you are headed in the wrong direction. And when that is the case, you'd end up deleting the entire answer and typing from scratch. And in the back of your mind, you'd know for a fact that you had wasted a lot of time. So there's a tendency for you to provide rushed answers which are not thought out properly. And when you are panicking, you will definitely run out of time. And if that is the case, if you provide incomplete answers, you will not pass for sure. Okay, so get your answering technique right. So keep practicing on these answering techniques, which we have highlighted within the second webinar when attempting each of your mocks. And mismanagement of time can be gotten rid of if you stick to our answer planning technique. And another reason for failure is lack of evaluation. So you might think that you have the capability to attempt each mock on your own, but what you need to do is, after attempting each mock, you should compare it to the suggested answer and see whether your answer structure is aligned with the requirement, whether your answer structure carries the relevant level of depth. Okay, so if you are not in a position to evaluate this by yourself, then it's prudent for you to go for tutor feedback, because we are trained to evaluate your answer scripts. So we are in a better position to provide you with solutions to your shortcomings, because we have the capability of understanding shortcomings after going through an answer script. So if you last time, if you failed because if you attempted 5 mock exams last time, yet you failed, then it appears that you do not have the understanding to compare your answer to that of the suggested answer. That's where tutor support comes in. And not adhering to a study plan is another problem, another inefficiency. So we have highlighted the study plan within the website. So please go through it and try to adhere to it as much as possible. Okay, so this time in August, if you're planning to attempt your exam, it's of utmost importance that you pass it this time. Okay, so what are you supposed to do to pass your exam in August? Try to figure out, you have to be involved with a personal reflection with the intention of understanding whether you gave your best shot last time. Okay, so you need to understand what your shortcomings were. So I highlighted certain shortcomings which are commonly experienced by students. So you might have encountered one of these reasons or a multitude of these reasons. So you need to really talk to yourself and figure out what your shortcomings were when you sat for the exam in May or a previous session. So after understanding what your problems were, you need to diagnose the reasons first and address them this time. So just understanding what your shortcomings are won't help you. You need to take a step further and figure out how to overcome each of these shortcomings which you experienced in your previous sitting. So I've highlighted for each of these problems, I've highlighted a solution. So it's important that you talk to yourself and keep on reminding yourself that these are my shortcomings. This is what I'm supposed to do to overcome these shortcomings, and you have to implement your plans with regards to overcoming your shortcomings. And refer to the mini mock and suggested answers if you have to understand what I'm talking about, what type of answer structures I'm talking about, the type of questions which are thrown at you. You might not have gotten feedback or sought feedback in your previous sitting. And as I told you earlier, if you're not in a position to really compare your answer and the suggested answer, then it's better to opt for tutor feedback, especially if you failed in your previous sitting. So if that is the case, you need all the support you need. The best type of support is by opting for tutor feedback, so that you are in a position to really understand where you stand. So as I told you earlier, I showed you an answer script. So the student ended up failing the exam or the mock exam, but at the real exam, this individual passed in the first sitting itself. So simply stick to these things. So based on all the services which we are providing, you have to develop an action plan that should be to work smarter than the previous attempt. So it's not about working harder than the previous attempt, just being smarter when it comes to your preparations and when it comes to utilizing your time or allocating enough study time in the upcoming 5 weeks. So when attempting the exam, you might be doing it at home. If that is the case, click on this link and read the content thoroughly, which highlights the technical nitty-gritties pertaining to the PSR VUE system, and try out the CIMA exam platform by following the guidelines 2 or 3 days before the exam, so that you are conversant with the technicalities pertaining to the exam platform. All right, any questions, guys? So we have covered, I've actually covered everything as per what I planned. Any questions? I'm going to pause the recording. All right, seems like there aren't any more questions. So let me wind up tonight's session. So you can contact us via our website, which is www.study@tcs.com, or simply email us via info@study@tcs.com, or drop us a message via WhatsApp. We are happy to serve you. Then I invite you guys to follow us on our social media handles, especially our TikTok handle, because within our TikTok page, you will find 3 videos which goes on for something like 9 to 10 minutes. So within 9 to 10 minutes, we have summarized the entire pre-scene. So, up until your exam, keep on watching these 3 TikTok videos. And if you do, you'd constantly keep reminding yourself on a daily basis about the most important information which appears within the pre-scene. So you need not do much to remember the information which appears within the pre-scene, because we are providing these things free of charge via TikTok. So the entire pre-scene is summarized within 9 minutes via 3 videos. So I hope you guys will check them out as well, and check out our blog posts as well. Within the website itself, you can access it. So by going through the blog posts, you are in a position to figure out the technicalities pertaining to your exam. So having said that, it brings us to the end of tonight's session. So thank you very much for joining in. I hope you guys gained something out of this, especially if you are repeating your SCS exam in August. So you just have 5 weeks at your disposal. So try to make the most out of the 5 weeks. Stick to our study plan. According to our study plan, you are supposed to attempt mock number 2 at least within this week. So try to at least get mock number 1 done by the end of this week. Keep practicing the answer planning techniques. Keep practicing the time management techniques. And if you do, you will come up with extremely good answers and pass your exam in August. So I wish you all the very best. And if you need further assistance, you can reach us via our WhatsApp group, or simply drop us an email or contact us directly via the website. You can do that as well. So thank you very much. All the very best. Good night and take care.